Amazing. Thank you very much, Oli, for the opportunity for having me here. Let me start sharing my screen. So this is already, you can all see the screen. Yeah. All right, perfect.
Yeah,
So
working.
today I'll be talking about the key methods and strategies with customer feedback. By the way, it may not be visible right here, but apologies if I'm not at my 100%. I caught a very, very bad flu 2 days ago, and I still have it as we speak. That must be something, Dan. It's the second time I have a session with you where I'm sick. I think it was a month ago. What's going on? You
Yeah,
maybe
maybe I'm a Le Chat Noir for you, and so
it's okay. You're a great source of motivation to stay there and make it happen, even though sick.
well, I've seen a few of your sessions now, and they've always been really good, even if you have got the flu at the same time. So yeah, I'm sure there's not going to be a problem today.
That's very good. Hopefully the third one you'll attend. I'm not going to be sick, but thank you very much. So really happy to talk about that topic. So that topic really is like actually Oli perfectly summarizes, tend to be a lot overlooked. And one of the reasons behind that is because there's a lot of basic things that business owners and team members, members of your team, if you have a team, could do on a regular basis that we kind of all know but don't do regularly, that could have such a great impact when it comes to being proactive with customer feedback. So it's all about also having that correct mindset and vision when it comes to customer feedback before putting that strategy and those methods around your customers in place, but also what to do from feedback. And also those negative feedback such as complaints that we're going to be covering. So I'm just going to briefly introduce myself. I'm Pierre, I'm the founder of Beyond Satisfaction. I'm a customer service trainer and consultant. So what I do is mostly training and consulting to frontline employees, but also to business owners, to managers, to help them improving their customer experience and make sure that it makes the best impact, not only on their customers, but also on their business performance and also what they get from customers in terms of loyalty, satisfaction, and advocacy, but also on their people, because again, the power, I'm just going to pour myself some water. The power of people is sometimes underestimated when it comes to customer service. And there's one thing I always say is when I train people on customer service, I do it 70% for the people, only 30% for the clients. Because again, only a retained and happy team can provide exceptional customer service. So my background is luxury. I've been working in luxury hotels, running very large events for more than 10 years of my life in various countries in the world, France, UK, obviously, China, US, and I decided to start my business beginning of COVID. So people may say that it's not the best time to start a business. Well, it depends. It can be a good start. It can be a good time if you just giving you more time to get ready. With less clients to start with, we can be a very good thing. So really happy I took that leap of faith during COVID. So that's it about me. I'm not going to spend more talking about myself and my background. So I would like to start with the four main pillars when it comes to the feedback strategy. So many people, this one I like to put it first because many people tend to think that feedback strategy is about getting those reviews. There's a huge difference between asking for feedback and asking for reviews. If you directly ask for reviews at the end of providing your offer to your clients, you're kind of sending the wrong message. You're saying to your clients, I only care for that 5-star review on my Google profile. I don't really care for your genuine feedback. So first of all, it's going to decrease the likelihood of getting reviews. But second of all, you're going to only ask your very happy clients. So you're not going to get those opportunities of improvement you want to get from your happy or your averagely happy clients. And then therefore it may turn into a complaint from other clients moving forward. So it starts by asking for feedback first, reviews after. We're going to see that a little bit more in depth, but a feedback strategy is about getting genuine feedback from your clients and knowing what to do from it. And alternatively, if they are very happy, you're getting them to give you a review. But on many instances, reviews, you can have the best methods and strategy to get those reviews. Reviews, 80% of the time, are those things that come naturally because you provided an exceptional experience. And you can only provide an exceptional experience if you get genuine feedback that you improve from it. So that's why it's really important to focus on feedback first. Obviously, it's about focusing on quality over quantity. When I help people with their feedback strategy, sometimes they want to get more feedback, but the problem they really have is that the feedback they get is not detailed enough or not genuine enough for them to do something from it. So it's really important to focus on that quality first. And this is what we're going to be seeing mostly when it comes to building a strong feedback form, survey form, whatever you want to call it, in order to get those feedback from customers. Obviously, it's all about what you do from feedback as well. So I put improving both internally and externally. What I mean by externally is you may get sometimes a feedback from a client where you haven't done anything wrong. Everything was good from your end. And probably it's just a question of expectations badly managed or clients having unrealistic requests. Well, it's still an opportunity for you to make the experience better for customers by remanaging expectations, by having those courageous conversations, by explaining how things work. So whatever feedback you get, even if you haven't done anything wrong, is still an opportunity to improve. And that's one of the 4 pillars you need to keep in mind, is that yes, you're going to get those unrealistic feedback sometimes. I even heard once someone saying me, well, why would I encourage my clients to give me feedback if it's for them to say unrealistic things? I put myself at risk. Well, actually, no. You're giving yourself opportunities to remanage expectations, to reset boundaries, etc., etc. So do not be afraid to ask for feedback because you're going to get those unrealistic ones from your clients. No, it's a great opportunity for you. And obviously, feedback is not only about improving, it's not only about making the experience better for future clients, it's not only about getting those reviews, but it's actually an amazing way to show how much you care for your clients and therefore generate more trust. This is why I often recommend businesses and team members to not wait for the end necessarily to ask for feedback, but to take every opportunity you have with customers to ask for feedback. And when you send that form, also send it before the end, but we're going to be seeing that a little bit more in depth right now. So let me just drink some water. So one of the first things you need to keep in mind when it comes to feedback is if you do not want to get negative feedback, it's all about being proactive. I will give you a stat about that. Only 20% of clients are saying what they think to businesses. And the problem is that if you only stick to that and you don't encourage feedback, those 20% will be those unhappy clients that are unhappy enough to say what they think. So 90% of those 20% of feedback may turn into a complaint. So what are you doing on a regular basis to encourage feedback, to take every opportunity of customer interaction to get those genuine feedback from your clients? So again, feedback strategy is not all about having those specific processes to ask for reviews by email with automations, etc., etc. It's also about any interactions you have with your customers. Are you being proactive to ask them what they think about your services? Ask them if they struggle about something. Ask them if they're happy with everything provided so far. Is there anything they were frustrated with, etc., etc. Every interaction is an opportunity to ask for those feedback. So again, the mindset you should have around feedback is what should I do and how do I do it to make sure that I get those 80% of clients who will not speak naturally, to get them to tell me what they think on a regular basis. Now, another thing you may say to me is, well, hold on. They like me a lot. Okay, it's good to get those opportunities of improvements from happy clients, but they like me a lot. They like what I provide so far. Why would they say what they think to me? Why would they take the risk to offend me? And that's very true. Sometimes happy clients, even if there were things they were unhappy with, they may not say it to you. One of the ways you need to make it happen is making it clear that you care about their genuine feedback so you can improve moving forward. At the end of every training sessions I deliver, when I hand my feedback form to every attendee, the first thing I say is, guys, I want to really maintain the quality of my courses as high as it can be. So you're giving me genuine feedback, even on the things you didn't like or the things you think I could improve. It's really important to me. So it's about making it sound like they are doing you a favor by giving you those opportunities of improvement. That's how you get those genuine feedback from your happy clients rather than moving forward from unhappy ones. Obviously, sometimes you're going to do this and they're going to say unrealistic things, even though you encourage them for feedback. What is really important is to not go against what they say. Again, you've encouraged them to share their thoughts, to be genuine. Do not go against what they say. What you should do is make it sound as if you want to help them making their experience better. So let's say you've asked a client on a specific interaction, I would love to hear your feedback on anything you feel I could have done better. Again, you're the one encouraging the feedback. And when they say, oh, I felt like you could have done this way, and that's quite unrealistic because this is not related to the things, is not matching with how you provide your offer. Well, you should not go against what they say. If you have to remanage expectations and reset boundaries, you need to make it sound as you want to make the experience better. I'm really sorry, this experience, I'm really sorry you didn't have a good experience with that specific instance. Next time, if you don't want to end up in that specific situation, what you could do is, I'm sorry if I haven't been clear with you previously, but the way we work is blah, blah, blah. So again, in case they give you something that is not matching with the way you're providing and they have that unrealistic expectation, do not go against what they say because you're going to make it confrontational. Again, you encourage them to give genuine feedback. So it's all about you making it sound as you're helping them. And that's really important. So that's kind of the little vision and mindset to have and approach to have when it comes to customer feedback. But now we're going to be going through the feedback form itself. So you have to build a survey that you want to send on a regular basis to customers. That's going to be a huge way for you to get genuine feedback on a consistent basis. How to build that survey, how to make sure you get, again, quality feedback that you can really work on and improve moving forward. Obviously, not too long, because the longer you make it, the more likely you are to decrease the likelihood of getting feedback. You need to make sure it's easy to fill and send back. So for example, Google Form or Microsoft Form is very good because it's just a link. You fill it out. You don't have to resend something. You don't have to reply to an email. You just go on the link, fill it out and submit. So again, those two things is about making it as easy as possible for your audience so they are more likely to fill it out. Obviously, if you want to have quality of feedback, you need to encourage negative answers. Sometimes I help people with their feedback form. When I train, I ask them, what type of questions are you asking your customers to get feedback? If you only ask questions that are encouraging positive answers, obviously you're not going to get those opportunities of improvement. So you need to have at least one question encouraging them to give a negative answer. For example, like I mentioned before, do you feel there's something we have done that could have been done better? That is a question that encourages negative answers. Obviously, it's about updating your form every 3 to 6 months, depending on your opportunities of improvement. So if you see, for example, the last point, if you receive a specific negative feedback on something that you need to improve on, you may want to include a question related to that on your next feedback form that you are sending. How to get a precise answers from your customers, ranking questions from 1 to 10. Many feedback forms you have not happy, average, happy, very happy, or whatever it is, like those 4 to 5 answers. The problem is that if you give a happy, that will be a 6, 7, or 8, right? But again, if you use a ranking question, a 6 is not the same as a 7 or 8. So if someone gives you a 6, yeah, that may fall into the happy category, but you may want to find out why they gave you a 6 versus an 8. So this is, again, gives you more kind of like precisions in terms of you being able to dig in. But the other thing you need to do is kind of a space under that ranking questions so they can explain the answers. Because most part of the time, if a customer is giving you a 6, they may want to justify themselves. If they don't, you can chase up. Again, that will be such an amazing way for you to show how much you care for your customers. Not only you send a feedback form, when they gave you a 5 or a 6, you want to find out why. So you can kind of make that 5 or 6 turn into a 9 because you show that you care, and you can try to find out what you can do better next time and follow up more often with them moving forward. Again, do not wait for the end to send it. In average, 2/3 of the customer journey is quite good to send it. So again, it's going to increase the likelihood for them to reply, because again, you're still providing your offer. So most part of the time when you're done providing your offer, if you send your form at the end, this is when they're less likely to provide it. But again, they are in the heart of your service because you're providing it. So this is where they are more likely to give genuine feedback. And like I said, do not be afraid to chase up if needed. So this is a very simple thing. I would say 4 to 5 questions in your feedback form, fit in 1 page. On a Google Documents or Microsoft form, very easy for them to fill and return 1 to 10 ranking questions with spaces underneath to explain their answers. Now, one last thing, sorry, I forgot to cover, making it confidential. Some people ask me about it. Making it confidential is very good to increase the likelihood of them replying, so increase the quantity. The problem is that you may not be able to increase the quality of feedback, because let's say they gave you a 6 in terms of ranking questions and they don't explain themselves, you cannot dig in because it's confidential. So if you want to have more feedback in terms of quantity for a set period of time, you may want to make it confidential for a while. But if you want to have quality, it's better to make it not confidential. And again, make it sound about the fact that you care for that genuine feedback. Now, one thing I like to cover, again, like I said, feedback strategy is not about sending that form only. It's about being proactive through every interactions. Sorry, someone wanted to ask something. No, sorry, I heard someone, but that's okay. Feedback strategy is not only about sending that form, it's also about taking every customer interaction as an opportunity to ask for feedback. So there is a very good type of questions that you get yourself or your team to ask on a regular basis. It's called lock-on question. Lock-on question is a questioning techniques used a lot in customer service. It's a very simple type of question. It's a yes or no answer. And depending on what they say, they will have to develop their answer. For example, anything specific you are worried about that you would like to share. If they say no, they don't have to give any explanation. If they say yes, they will have to develop. So that may sound like a very simple type of question, but again, let me just give you a very simple example. That slide is a slide that I cover in almost every of my course. And this is what most team members prefer the most. Why is that? It's because let's say you have a team of 5 employees, and your team of 5 employees are interacting daily with 20 to 30 customers. If only 10% of their interactions, they are spending it asking those questions on a daily basis times 5 team members, can you imagine at the end of the year how much more feedback they will get from their clients versus if they wouldn't ask those type of questions? So this is so good to be proactive in terms of asking for feedback. Because again, you are having that customers talking to you. It can be by email as well. You can just put a little sentence at the end of your email. This is so good to, again, be proactive on a regular basis in order to ask for feedback your clients. So I would like to share with you 2 different metrics that are very, very powerful when it comes to customer feedback. Let me just have a sip of water. All right, so the first metric that I would like to share with you is net promoter score. Sorry, you may have heard about it. This is a very good metric that you can use to get genuine feedback from your clients and to have a clear picture on one of the most important aspects of your customer loyalty, which is the advocacy. Sometimes when we talk about loyalty, many people will focus on retention, or I want my customers to be loyal, either to stay longer with me or to come back to me. The problem is not everybody are having offer that can retain customers. A lot of businesses have those one-off offers, right? How do you get loyalty from your customers if they cannot come back to you because it's just one-off offer? They don't need to come back after you've provided your offer. Well, there's one thing that you can get from each and every loyal customers is advocacy. How likely they are to give those powerful word of mouth moving forward once you have provided your offer or while you have provided your offer. And this is what net promoter score is used for. So it's a metric based on the answer received from clients when being asked about the likelihood to recommend your company to others. So they will be giving an answer between 0 and 10, 0 being not likely at all, and 10 being extremely likely. You have 3 different categories of clients depending on the answers they give. You have the promoters, the one giving 9 or 10 answers. This one, they will naturally make the effort to promote your brand. They will be the real brand ambassadors. Then you have the 7 and 8. They are happy, but naturally they are not satisfied enough to really go that extra mile for you and promote you naturally without you having to do anything. And then you have the detractors, the one from 6 to below. This one, they are kind of considered as unhappy clients. On top of not referring you, they may also discourage other people they know to do so. So again, if you ask on your feedback form one simple question to every of your customers, or you get your team to do at least once a day to ask one customer how likely are they to refer your brand or to recommend your brand to others, you're going to get those stats at the end of the month, at the end of the year, where you're going to be able to see how likely your customers are to do that shout out outside your business. So obviously it's about calculating it and see how well you are doing. So how you calculate NPS is the percentage of promoters minus the percentage of detractors. For example, if 50% of respondents are promoters and 10% are detractors and 40% are passives, which means 7 to 8, your net promotion score will be 50 minus 10, so 40%. So what is the goal from there? Well, it's to make sure that you are turning all your detractors into promoters, but also all your passives into promoters. So then what you can do once you got those answers is find out, obviously the real goal of that is find out why you have clients that are detractors or passives. What can you do or what could you have done to turn them into promoters? So it's about finding out that why so you can improve that score moving forward. So the key is to follow up with them once you get that answer. And again, like I said, the goal is to get as much promoters as you can. So again, you get that advocacy and you get naturally that business going through your own customers. Now, there's a second metric I would like to share with you. It's called the customer effort score. I don't know if you heard about it. It's a very good metric if, for example, you have specific issues that you are not in control, but you are putting specific processes that your customers needs to follow with them, of specific complaints that you are in the past that you would like to find out how you improve, or if you just would like to have your customer's perspective on specific stages of your customer journey. So customer effort score, it's a metric that measures how much effort your customers has to go through to get a request fulfilled or an issue resolved. So it's from 1 to 7, 1 being very difficult, 7 being very easy. So for example, I included 2 examples of questions you can ask on a range from 1 to 7. How easy was it to make your inquiry? From a range from 1 to 7, how easy was it to get that specific issue resolved? How do you calculate NPS? Is the total number of customers who agreed that their interaction or request was easy, divided by the total number of responses. So for example, out of 100 customers who rated you, if 65 gave you a 5, 6, or 7, which is considering to the very easy category, your customer effort score will be 65%. So for example, if you are digging in with your customers in terms of finding out how much they are likely to be brand advocates, and you find out that you have a low score, then you want to find out why you have that low score. And they tell you, well, it's because I had issue with this, I had issue with that. Then what you can do moving forward, once you've improved from that, is use the customer effort score to make sure that you've improved effectively and that now your customers are not struggling anymore with that specific request, if that makes sense. Now, one last thing I would like to speak about when it comes to feedback is complaints. If there's one type of feedback that is the number one focus, is complaining clients. Why is that? Is because if they're complaining, it means that first of all, you haven't been proactive enough beforehand to not turn that frustration into a complaint, but also because complaints are still an opportunity to generate more trust, to show more care, to improve internally, but also to reset boundaries and remanage expectations. Most part of the time, the reason why we don't deal effectively with complaints is because we have the wrong mindset around complaints. Again, like Oli mentioned, sometimes our business is our own baby, so we can get offended by those complaints. We can become defensive, but no, complaints are actually a huge opportunity to show even more care. I can give you my own example. In my career in luxury, most of my most loyal clients were in fact previous complainers. But I took that complaint as an opportunity not only to improve, but to show how much I care for them and to make the experience better for them moving forward. So we start by having that mindset. How to deal effectively with complaints? emotional perception. It starts with that. You can have the best methods to improve from complaints, to find the good resolution for your customers when they're complaining. If you don't start by focusing on on their emotional perception, it's a recipe to failure. Science tells us that human reactions and decision-making process is emotional first and then logical. So you need to start by focusing first on the emotional perception to make sure that you are resolving the complaints well. So active listening, paraphrasing their concern, sympathizing with their frustrations is key in order to reduce their complaints. And this is the three first stages of the learn method: listening and paraphrase, sympathizing, which is empathizing, and then apologizing. Now you can say to me, why would I apologize if we haven't done anything wrong? Like I mentioned before, even if they're wrong, it may be coming from expectations poorly managed at some point. So again, you may have not set your boundaries effectively right from the start. You may have not given the information accurately enough right from the start. So again, you may have your part of responsibility, but you can just apologize for the bad experience. Again, you don't put yourself at risk, but again, you are making that positive impact on their emotional perception because you are telling them, I understand your frustrations and I'm there to help you. Only when you've done those three stages can you resolve, and can you do it now? Now, obviously, there's one thing that you're going to tell me sometimes a client is complaining you cannot find right now the solution. This is very true. But what I mean by this now, and this is what we're going to be seeing in that a little bit more in-depth method, is that even though you do not have the solution now, what you can do is explain them clearly the stages you're going to follow in order to solve their complaint. Again, by doing so, you're going to show assertiveness, and you're going to generate trust in your ability to help them. So in that more in-depth method, I kind of highlighted in golden the additional points. First of all, if you've made a mistake, do not hide it. Be honest about it and say it. Honesty is going to be actually a great way to generate more trust from your customers. But also, you have nothing to hide anymore. You've admitted your mistakes, so you're regaining control. Because one thing that a customer will try to do when they're complaining is take control. You need to keep control when they're complaining, because only by keeping control can you find the correct solution for them. And this is really important to do that. So you need to tell the truth. You don't need to not take their feedback personally. Sometimes they will try to be offensive, mainly if it's your own business. But you need also to know your stuff, be assertive, and like I say, remain in control. One of the best way to do that is to explain clearly the stages you're going to be taking in order to help them. For example, I'm really sorry about your frustrations. I totally understand where you're coming from. What I'm going to do in order to help you with this issue is I'm going to find out what exactly happened. It's going to take me no more than 24 hours to do so. And I will be coming back to you with a specific solution by latest tomorrow. In the meantime, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions by email or you have my direct line. By doing that, you haven't found yet a solution to their complaint, but you have explained clearly what you're going to do to help them and how they can reach out to you. So again, you're remaining in control and you are knowing your stuff and you are showing assertiveness. Now, the two last points I would like to cover about that method is after the complaint. Like I mentioned, most of my loyal clients in the past were previous complainers. And the reason why they were loyal is because also I show after the complaints how much I care for them. So once you resolve the complaint, if they're still your clients, or even if they're not, what you can do is spend some time, a week or two after, to explain what you've done internally to make sure those issues do not happen in the future. If they are still your clients, check on them more regularly. Are you happy with everything provided so far? Ask even more those local questions. Spend more time to drop that line in your email and ask about their feedback. Send one more feedback form if you have to. Again, be more proactive in showing how much you care for them and getting their feedback. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if I respect the time, but I am all done. Yeah, okay, perfect. I'm all done with that quick presentation. Obviously, I could have talked for much more time about that topic. There's a lot to cover. In fact, it seems to be a very simple topic, but there's a lot of small little things that really makes a difference. But thank you all for listening to me, and I'll be more than happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Pierre. Any questions for Pierre this morning, guys?
Oh, sugar. Oh,
Ooh,
I
Andy.
thought I left. I thought I left the call accidentally.
So, how do you avoid sounding insincere? So you were talking about, say what you're going to do and so on. And I've seen these answers lots of times, but sometimes I think it sounds really insincere. How do you avoid that?
You mean the customer feedback themselves that are
No.
insincere?
When businesses reply to customer feedback and to customer complaints, they say, "Oh, we're very sorry you've had this experience. We're going to do blah blah blah, whatever it is." Sometimes I think, oh, it's just words. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, actually, that's a good point. I think that if a customer is complaining, what I will most likely recommend is not to reply by email for a complaint. You call the customer first of all, because the best way to sound genuine is verbally, or even in a Zoom call. If you just write down a few words, like you said, they're just words by email. So that's the first thing I will tell you is if a customer is complaining or if a customer is leaving you bad feedback when you send that form, do not only reply just by email. Thank you very much for your feedback. Thank you very much for spending some time to give me your genuine thoughts. I would love to discuss this further with you over the phone or on a Zoom call. When are you available to do that? Because again, if you just say, "Oh yeah, I'm really sorry" by email, is there anything else I can do? Yeah, it's just few words. You don't really put in the effort. If you give yourself some time, if you're telling the customers, "I'm giving you some of my time to talk to you verbally on a Zoom call or a phone call," this is how you show that you care, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Andy. Good. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Good point. Neil?
Yeah, thanks, Pierre. I thought so if you were to get bad customer feedback, and unfortunately I haven't really had any today, is that if you were to make an effort to making the customer happy, how do you feel about the fact that sometimes it means it's not going to be profitable, but it's something that you do to maintain your reputation? I mean, how far should one go in investing in positive feedback versus it being cost effective to do?
So you mean like when sorry, I'm not sure if I got it properly. If you can just rephrase it, apologies.
I mean, I guess kind of, sometimes if you're spending a lot of time, if you do extra work, if you do something like that's not going to be profitable. In fact, it might even cost you money.
Yep.
Do you think that's advisable for small businesses, or do you just take it on the chin and move away?
I mean, no, that's a very good point. So first of all, one funny thing about customer service is that customer service in general, not only feedback strategy, is customer service, the impact it makes on your business is sometimes not those things that are visible on a Excel spreadsheet at the end of the month in terms of direct revenue, but it's really about that legacy, is really about that, like I said, that indirect business you get through those word of mouth or those natural reviews that you get. So that's most part of the time what I say is that yes, sometimes when you invest in customer service, you may not see directly the return at the end of the month, but in the long route, it's very, very, it makes a huge impact. But in terms of your question itself, if you don't really have time, I mean, we're all busy, mainly if you're a solopreneur or you run a small business. This is why I kind of included that slide about those lock-on questions you can ask through every interactions, because if you don't really have time to build a form, to contact every customers, to spend hours daily to ask for feedback, first of all, if you automate it, if you have it sent naturally through a specific stage of the customer journey, it's not taking you that much time. But again, if you take those opportunities, you're already talking with customers, to just throw that lock-on questions on a regular basis to get those feedback. At the end of the day, it doesn't take you that much time, if that makes sense. And the last thing I will say is, if you spend that time, even if it takes you, let's say, I don't know, 2 hours a week to do all this, if you spend that time to get those genuine feedback and to act on it, it's going to be probably some time you're not going to spend moving forward with complaining clients, customer issues, or other types of challenges around your customer journey, if that makes sense. Not sure if I answered your question, but yeah. Oh, sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think Yeah, there's a difference. I mean, I'm service-based industry creative designer, so I guess if people were unhappy with the expectations of design work, then it's probably a bigger effort to put. You know, you're talking about half days and things like that, rather than things like that. But I guess it was just how far should one go in the pursuit of resolving issues?
I
guess.
mean, I think if you talk about expectations management, actually, it's a very good point. Most part of them, when you ask for feedback, it's giving you also yourself another opportunity to manage expectation. If you feel like when you ask for feedback, you have a lot of customers coming back to you with unrealistic expectations or things they shouldn't expect for generally, probably it means that you should do something right from the start to get that expectations right. Probably it can be just putting things by writing to protect yourself moving forward. Spend more time during onboarding to discuss specific things. Be more clear about the informations you need to give when managing expectations. Understanding better your customer's perspective so you can give those information accurately, if that makes sense. Like I said, most of the time, if a customer has wrong expectations, it means that something could have been done right from the start, so they have the correct one, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
stop there because I can talk for hours about expectation management. So yeah, Martin.
Thanks, Neil. Martin.
Hi, Pierre.
Hi,
I'm actually doing this right now. I have just finished a string of projects and I'm doing my feedback. Can we look at my draft feedback form live right now and you give me some feedback? Is that a fair
Yeah,
request?
that's fine. Yeah, of course.
If I'm going to share my Google Doc and then you read it quickly.
Yep.
All right. So just to give you some background.
Yep.
So I'm a presentation coach. I help people sort of write and prepare for their public speaking at conferences and things like that.
Okay.
And I've literally just finished sort of 3 projects in the last week. So I'm following up with people. And this is my draft sort of survey form. And I'm just really intrigued because you sort of said, 4 to 5 questions, the yes, no's, and keep it to 1 page. So I'd love a teardown or a critique on what I have right now.
Yeah. So
Shall I scroll on? Basically, there's more. So that's the extent of it.
okay, the first thing I will tell you is try to make it shorter.
Yeah.
So it fits in one page, because again, you're going to increase the likelihood of getting feedback in terms of quantity. So the first question, I enjoyed the process of creating my talk. 1 no, 10 yes. So is it a ranking question where they can give 4, 5, 6, 7, or they are two? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You may want to rephrase it that, for example, because people may misunderstand that. They may just give you a 1 or a 10. They may not understand it's a ranking question. You may want to rephrase it as a ranking question. On a range from 1 to 10, how much did you enjoy the process of creating my talk? And then you leave a comment section below to explain your answer.
Yeah.
You give some open questions, is not bad, but not too much open questions, because again, open questions may decrease the likelihood of people replying it. You're going to create that on what? On the Microsoft form, Google form?
This was exactly what I was thinking yesterday. I mean, initially thinking Google Forms.
Yeah, both are good. Microsoft or Google form. What I would advise you to do not make any questions mandatory. Leave them all free. Even if they answer only 3 of them, do not make them mandatory, because that's gonna, if they want to reply, they will. Making it mandatory, not changing anything. People think that because you're making mandatory is gonna, no, that's not true. Yeah. But on the second hand as well is you're gonna increase that quantity of feedback. Yeah. And in case they didn't reply some questions, it's still a great opportunity for you to probably schedule a call with them to dig in a little bit more. Because again, it's not only about getting that genuine feedback that they didn't give you. It's also about showing how much you care for them. Oh, you didn't reply that question. I don't want, only if you have time and only if you want. I would love to find out, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, fantastic. There is more. Can I scroll down a bit?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
What is your next opportunity? Yeah, the next opportunity questions, I'm not sure if it should be included in a feedback form.
Okay.
How will this story feature moving forward? Yeah, two open questions is quite good. Did the message feel good to share? Yeah, you will want to reduce the amount of questions you have, like I said, to make it smaller. It's good that you split it in different sections. Yeah, you need to reduce the amount of questions, definitely. Because again, the longer you make it, the less likely you'll get. So again, it's about what are the key questions I want to ask, and then what is that that chart? Yeah, that is a very, I mean, to be honest, when do you ask for that feedback?
I haven't yet. So basically, this is such a well-timed thing because I wrote this yesterday.
Okay.
And I know that it's too long. So this
Yeah.
is like draft one, just get all my ideas out there. Let's see it in everything that I would possibly want to ask. But as soon as I finished it, I'm like, the people I'm asking, they're going to look at this and go, that's way too much work. I don't have time for that.
Maybe what I would recommend you to do is that spreadsheet here is kind of questions related to the impact of what you've teach them will have. So what you can do actually is send one feedback form during or right after you've provided your offer, and then send a second feedback form with those questions related to the impact a month after. Because first of all, that's going to give you more genuine feedback. They're going to be more able to answer those questions because it's a month after. And again, it's a great way for you to follow up with your customers a month after and show how much you care while getting those genuine feedback, if that makes sense.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And where were you in China? Because I was in Beijing for a long time.
Oh, it was a very long time. It was 12 years ago. I was in Hong Kong for 6 months and Shanghai for 6 months. But I've been to Beijing as well, so yeah.
Nice. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Martin. That's been terrific, Pierre. Really has. Any final questions whilst we've got Pierre with us this morning from any of you? No, I think we've exhausted everything, Pierre. One last question from me.
Yes.
What's your favourite luxury hotel brand? If you've been on the inside.
My favorite luxury hotel brand is definitely Four Seasons. I worked for Four Seasons for almost 7 years. And the reason behind it is because they understand one main point in terms of making the best impacts on customers and on the customer experience, is that you can only do such a thing by taking care of your own people. Isadora Sharp main quote is about, you can only, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's something around take care of your clients so that take care of your people so they take care of your clients. And they're all around that. Is you have very high requirements. You can have a lot of pressure when working for Four Seasons. You have a lot of difficult and challenging customers to deal with. It's not an easy company to work for, but one thing you have is a company that takes care of you, that gives you support, that gives you care, that gives you training, that acknowledge you, etc., etc. And actually, the main reason why when I started to decide on my business, I wanted to focus on training is mostly because I work for Four Seasons. I was like, I cannot help businesses with their customer service by not focusing on their people, because the minute you have a team, it's only through your people that you can deliver exceptional customer experience. You can have the best methods in place, only your people will apply those methods and generate that loyalty, satisfaction, and trust from customers. So yeah, definitely Four Seasons.
Beautiful. That makes a lot of sense. I think Michael Winner, who was a notoriously difficult customer, said that the Four Seasons in Park Lane, High Park, was the best place to go for Sunday lunch.
Yep.
So I guess if it satisfied Michael Winner, it was definitely a good place to go. So thanks for that, Pierre. You're going to get a lot of love and a lot of big ups from us on LinkedIn and various other social media outlets.
Thank you very much.
Between now and next week.